Hello friends, Mali Panpadit here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of SOAR Community Nebula. Our goal this year is to interview 1,000 champions of change and community builders, and today we're delighted to bring to you Ms. Aleena Inthaly. Thank you so much, Aleena, for being a part of our initiative.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you.
Yes, I am excited to share your insights. So can you please start by introducing yourself and the work that you're currently doing in the world?
Yes, so my name is Aleena, and I currently work at a nonprofit organization called Legacies of War. I'm the development and operations manager at the organization, and we are a national nonprofit organization that advocates for the proper clearance of unexploded ordnance left over during the Vietnam War era in the country of Laos, which is a small little country in Southeast Asia. But over 270 million bombs were dropped during that period of time, and still today, we're making sure, ensuring that there is proper U.S. funding going towards unexploded ordnance clearance activities on the ground, and ensuring that in the future we don't have people still affected by the leftovers of war.
That's fantastic. We really appreciate the work that Legacies of War is doing. It's an initiative, an organization that's near and dear to my heart, considering that is my homeland, and we fled during the Vietnam era, and like so many of us here in the Washington, D.C. area and also all over the world with the Lao diaspora. So thank you for that. Can you now talk about your personal journey? Where in your life have you experienced kindness, empathy, compassion, additional love and support from another human being who is really mindful and conscientious of your path in life, your special gifts? Can you give some examples?
I mean, it really does start here within my community. I am also from the Laotian diaspora. I was born in the U.S., but have always felt kind of curious about my history and where I come from. For a long time, I felt an identity crisis. And it wasn't until maybe in my late teens, when I finally started asking questions. And actually the first kind of life-changing experience that I ever had deals with my work today. I met our executive director, Jenna at just this small little conference led by LANA, which is the Lao American National Alliance. And they had this small little conference where they invited a bunch of different speakers within the Laotian community and the Laotian diaspora to speak on like what they do and, what they do within the community. And I remember the first time I saw Jenna speak about this history that I've never heard of before, about the Vietnam War era, about Laos, about all of this healing that we're still doing as a community to get over the trauma and the tragedy of war. And finally, I was wondering to myself, why did I not know this? And it clicked that this was the path that I would take. All that took, all it took was just someone to say, hey, like, it's okay being Lao. It's okay being a part of this. This is a part of you. And I will never forget that, because now to this day, I feel this sort of connection that I just can't explain. It's just like deeply rooted, where everything I do is tied back to my identity as a Laotian American, but then also being interwoven into this very tight-knit community. And so that's why I'm here in my current position, because I started off as a volunteer, which was about 8 years ago. And now I'm like in my mid-20s and I'm still here, but as a full-time staff. So it goes to show sort of that journey of how I used something that was so personal to me, and then, kind of morphed it into what will become my professional work life.
That's fantastic. Well, I have to give a shout out to Ms. Jennifer. She is a very, very, very special human being. All these years of dedication and a lot of hard work. She's one of my idols and heroes. She's incredible. So then we talk now about the community builders and change agents in your life. You already mentioned one who is very special. When you think of these types of souls that are out there changing their communities in a positive way, are there attributes that come to mind, personality traits that you've witnessed over and over again that's consistent?
Yes. So I think empathy is a big one. I think all the people that I have, sort of identified as the people that I look up to, the people who I kind of see as the role models for what I would like to achieve in my life. I always feel like the best sort of leaders that I've come across can empathize, and they find it so easy to quickly put themselves in another person's shoes. um, Working within the nonprofit sector, it's really easy to get lost in so many different areas. I mean, especially if you're working, with politicians or people who aren't extremely or, very transparent with you on a day-to-day basis. You want to be surrounded by people who can kind of navigate those spaces while still keeping their humanity intact, if that makes any sense. I feel like the empathy and passion, when that's combined, makes for really inspirational role models. And I think that that's something that I've kind of wanting to put into more of my day to day. I always forget, I get lost in my work, but like thinking back, what's the big picture? I think overall, when you want to achieve a goal or reach, the end of the project, the end goal, we kind of have to take a step back after looking so much at, I like to use this metaphor, but for me, I like to look sort of at the cracks in the walls of my house and kind of fixate myself and obsess over those little cracks in the walls, being like, how can I fix this immediately? How can I make this look great? It looks terrible right now. Instead of just taking a step back and looking at the whole house to see that there already is a beautiful foundation. The house is a beautiful, color, and it's designed well. It's just, that's how I think that a lot of people, when looking into our professional and personal work lives, to kind of take a step back and realize what the overall big picture is.
Yeah, I love that. It's very, very much in alignment with this idea of being grateful every day, being grateful every moment. It's the gratitude when we step back and look at the whole picture and realize there's so much good still, even when there are a whole bunch of cracks and scars and bruises that we, wear and live with. Overall, are we good people? Overall, are we trying to do the best with what we have? And that really helps to kind of ground us a little bit, right? It's certainly for me. When you think about your own gifts and talents, now that you are full-time staff and you've volunteered your time, you've kind of figured out, well, what's mine to do? What am I really gifted at? And how are you then utilizing these gifts, these life experiences to propel causes or movements forward? In particular here with Legacies of War, but are there other causes as well that you're giving your time and energy and resources to?
Yes, absolutely. So I have always worked in some capacity in nonprofit work, and being someone who has given, volunteered my time, you kind of have to be really passionate about it. It's not, a really big paycheck at the end of the day. Sometimes you walk away with nothing, but that's not the point. I feel like my sort of gifts that I kind of have really embodied and have really, been extremely proud of, I guess, is the fact that I'm doing this because it fulfills my soul. And I'm surrounding myself with people who are sort of on the same boat. They're doing this because it fulfills them in so many other ways. It nourishes them. It nourishes their soul, and not so much their bank account or like other material things. And I think with nonprofit, it's a lot of relationship building. At the end of the day, it's a lot of making sure that there's support in a lot of areas. I think when we're trying to, for my workload every day, I think a lot of the goals that I'm trying to meet, it takes a team to do it. And so there's a lot of teamwork that's involved, a lot of community building, and making sure that the people who are working alongside me and alongside others who we partner with, we're making sure that everyone feels supported and empowered at the end of the day. And so I think for me, working at Legacies of War, I've definitely been able to bridge the gaps within different communities. For a long time within my community and the Laotian community specifically, I think there are so many days where I felt like, I didn't know many people, but Legacies of War has been able to network and to kind of connect all these different groups of people who may have never spoken to each other before. And now I realize that that's so important because at the end of the day, there's just one thing that might connect us all, whether that be the passion for clearing bombs or whether that be for children's education. It's all connected within one another. So as a person who loves putting on events, who loves coordinating different plans, I tend to do this a lot where I find, these little pockets of passion and then try to bring everyone together. And that's so fulfilling to me. We're doing work for advocacy, but we're also doing community work at the same time. So it's like one, you don't know that one day your skill is really going to cover all these different areas. And so that's why I think never to disregard anyone who may come along on your journey or who might pass you on your path. Every single person that I've met through this work has been an extremely important part of our overall dreams and our hopes of what we want to achieve. And so being a part of the millennial generation too, I think that's really important because I found that intergenerational collaboration has been a significant reason why I think we've been able to succeed in a lot of the community events and a lot of the community building that we do through the work at Legacies of War.
That's awesome. Very cool. I think it keeps it pretty interesting and fun, right? Because you never know what the next day is going to hold.
No, it's fast paced. One day there'll be one problem, the next day there'll be another problem. But it's all about creative problem solving and finding solutions as a team.
So now that you're in this leadership role and you're managing projects, you're managing initiatives, multiple initiatives, and you're also managing people, when you have tough days or when you are feeling uninspired for whatever reason, you're just tired, how do you rally the troops, but how do you also come back to center for yourself? Is there a philosophy that you follow, a motto or quote that you repeat to yourself? Can you share how you get back to grounding and then moving forward?
Yes. In the words of RuPaul, if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? That's something that I really, really, kind of keep close to my heart because number one, your health is always first. If there are days where you're feeling depressed or, you just feel like burnt out, I feel like wherever you are in that space, there's help. You're not alone. There's support. There are places you can go to. I think mental health is something that needs to be taken very seriously. And with such a fast-paced growing economy and so many things to do, I feel like more and more people, they're attaching themselves more to their professional personality than who they really are. It's remembering to stay true to who you are and not who you're supposed to be. I always like to say that to people who, I'm working with, or I've heard it from other people too, from my mentors, from Janapa, I've heard it a lot that you need to take care of yourself. So if you need to take a break, that's okay. Productivity comes from being inspired. And there are days where I'm doing, the most mundane task, and I'm sort of stuck in the office until very late at night. And I'm wondering, why am I doing this? Am I doing it because I want to achieve something? Am I doing it because I want validation from somewhere else? Or am I doing it because I truly care about this work? And though maybe filing this paper right now doesn't feel like it's a very inspirational or exciting thing to do, in the long run, though, it is contributing to this greater picture of what I want to do. So I always have to remind myself. I journal all the time. I talk to myself. I sing to myself. Whatever keeps your little heart happy, I say do it. Because those little moments in the day that you take to have a break and to kind of refresh your mind will contribute to your productivity in the long run. And so I think that, yeah, if you're kind to yourself, take yourself on dinners, do some yoga, or even just collect stamps. Anything that really makes your heart happy, make sure to dedicate, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you can, just for that activity that you love to do. It won't take away from your productivity from the day. It actually will help you out in the long run. So I think it depends on whoever you are, but don't forget to love yourself.
That's great. Aleena, what would a better world look like through your eyes?
A better world. First and foremost, the earth. I think if the earth was healthier, I'm just picturing, more trees, less cars. I think right now, for me personally, and being in the generation that I am, I see the effects of the changes in climate. And I know that our planet is changing. I'm kind of concerned for the next generation. And I'm no scientist, but like even the different changes in temperature is kind of worrying me. And DC recently, where I am at right now, I mean, we started using reusable straws and getting rid of plastic and all these little changes, but I don't know if it's enough. And so I'm just picturing that, a world where the environment is healthy will then contribute to a society that's healthy. I think that I would want to see our atmosphere and everything that we're surrounding ourselves in environment wise, on a healthier side. It will, I think, then affect humanity in a positive way. So I wish, I wish I could say more. Like, I wish I can go on about how I want to see more girls as scientists, and I want, everyone in every child to be in a school around the world. There's so much I want to see, but one of my other number ones, I think, is definitely Laos being bomb free. That is another part of the ideal world that I'd love to see, that weapons are sort of removed, that we don't have any more landmines, that we don't have any more exploded bombs anywhere in this country, or not in this country, but in the world. And Laos is just an example of that. There are so many other countries around the globe that still have to face those types of horrors. So, my happy, positive, optimistic heart wishes that there was no war and that there was peace. But it all starts with an earth that's happy and healthy as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you so very much for your contributions. I love your spunk and your passion. It's amazing. I'm like, I want some of that back. Anyway, but I really appreciate, I appreciate you for spending this time with me. Awesome kudos to Legacies of War for all of their incredible work all these years. And it's making a difference. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it because we have so many bombs still that need to be removed, not only in Laos, but also in every corner of this globe. And yet it has to start with one bomb being removed and another and another and another. So thank you to Legacies of War. Thank you to you. Thank you to Jennifer. Thank you to the entire team for all the work that you do. it's very inspirational and it's much needed. So I appreciate your time today.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing our story and giving me the opportunity actually to speak with you and with the wider audience. And we really definitely appreciate all that you're doing for the community as
Thank
well.
you. Khop Thank you. Thank you. Okay, for those that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in and allowing us to bring to you these incredible community builders out in the world. Listen to their stories, learn about their missions, get involved. There's a place for you. Your gifts and talents are needed. So please find a cause that matters to you. And besides that, please nominate yourself. We'd love to share your story as well, or nominate someone in your community who's making a difference. Visit us at nebula.soarcommunitynetwork.com. Thank you, everyone, and we'll talk to you very soon.